A couple of years ago on my main channel, I made a video talking about Malika Andrews and how, in my opinion, she has ruined a lot of the sports shows that she's been on, and also how, in my opinion, she's not better than Rachel Nichols, and how she seems to have this thing out for black men. And the video performed fairly well, which told me that a lot of people agree with me, and not to mention the comment section also told me that as well. Well, Molly Qerim is another one, and this is not going to come as a surprise to a lot of you out there. I don't typically make videos like this. I typically want to cover the sports themselves, but part of what we talk about on this channel is sports media, and how sports media and the NBA is not what it used to be, and how part of the reason that the NBA is trash now is because of the media. Well, this is a whole nother element, and this is going to be unpopular for some people, but I'm going to say what I believe, right? And I believe another reason that the sport has turned into what it has is because we letting women into spaces that are predominantly for men. I'm not saying women can't talk sports. I'm not saying women can't play sports, but I think that there should be a space for them to talk women's sports, because women's sports and men's sports are two different things. I mean, Serena Williams said herself, men's tennis and women's tennis are so different that it's almost like two completely different sports.
Well, who would it be?
Well, I don't know. Let's say you would be the...
I was hoping you'd say.
All right, feminine side. And me.
And you. Oh. Well, actually, it's funny because Andy Murray, he was been joking about myself and him playing a match, and I'm like, Andy, seriously, like, are you kidding me? Because for me, tennis and men's tennis and women's tennis are completely almost two separate sports. So I'm like, if I were to play Andy Murray, I would lose 6-0, 6-0, and 5 to 6 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, because no, it's true. It's true. It's a completely. It's a completely different sport. The men are a lot faster, and they serve harder, they hit harder. It's just a different game, and I love to play women's tennis.
Well, this is no different. Basketball for women and basketball for men, it's not even in the same stratosphere. And this is just another example, in my opinion, because the number one thing that people are talking about in the sports world as of today, is hard to miss it, has to be the situation between Giannis Antetokounmpo and Tyrese Halliburton's dad. I believe his name is John Halliburton. After the Indiana Pacers essentially eliminated the Bucks in 5 games last night, after the Milwaukee Bucks blew a 7-point lead with like 40 seconds left in the game. Well, everybody seemed to be on the same page. I mean, it's an easy decision. Everybody seems to agree, including Tyrese Halliburton himself, that what his dad did was inappropriate, unacceptable, embarrassing, unprofessional, all the things, right? Or at least everybody except for Shaq.
He's not supposed to be on the court.
It don't
He's
matter.
not supposed to be on the court.
Giannis talked to him. Forget all that.
No, he was on the court.
So what?
You think he said something? He probably didn't know who his dad is.
Stop it. Giannis said something.
No, because he's on the court in his face.
So what? Everybody on the court.
You can't do that.
Yeah, you can.
No, you cannot do that.
Giannis said something to him.
So you think his dad was correct? No, his dad was 100% wrong. Giannis is wrong?
Bro, Giannis said something to him.
No, he did not.
Yes, he did.
No, he not.
Look, right there.
No, his dad is coming up to him. What is his dad doing on the court? His dad is not supposed to be on the court. You can yell as much as you want to. He's an idiot. If you think that's right, you're an idiot too.
Well, Molly Qerim decided to go on ESPN First Take this morning, and while she agreed with everybody else that this was unacceptable, unprofessional, and it's just a bad look all the way around, and she even agrees that Tyrese Halliburton should be punished for this behavior, which I also agree with, and I'm actually agreeing with another person who said that he feels like Tyrese Halliburton's dad should be banned for life, and I'm not opposed to it. I know that sounds extreme, but what he did was extremely inappropriate, and I'm just not a fan of it. But anyways, Molly decided to take it a step further, and Molly decided to say that John Halliburton's behavior was not only unacceptable, unprofessional, and embarrassing, but she said that it was a bad reflection on Tyrese Halliburton, because now people are going to look at Tyrese Halliburton differently. And Stephen A. Smith not only agreed, but it turned into a pretty bad argument. Check it out.
I've been covering the NBA for close to 30 years. I can't recall a moment when I saw a son have to go in front of the national cameras and literally say, my parent was wrong. They had no business doing this. And that is the position he put his son in. And that is the shame of it.
I just think the last thing I'll say is I never judge somebody by their worst moment. But to Stephen A's point, your son hits a game-winning shot. He's moving on. And your instinct is to get in the face of the star of the other team.
Who played a great game.
It's just unfathomable to me.
Bad for Giannis.
Who, by the way, is class personified.
Yeah, you
Giannis
heard it.
doesn't
You
do
heard
that.
how he handles it. Yeah, being classy even in defeat.
You know?
The whole thing was embarrassing. And what it reminded me a bit of, Stephen A., is we were talking about the Ulbrich situation. Remember who pranked Deion Sanders' son?
Which is a joke.
And how the son reflected so poorly on the father. This is that same situation. It's going to have people looking at Tyrese sideways as well, whether it's fair or not. It is, Stephen A.
No, it's not.
Whether it's fair or not, it does.
It is not. You are wrong. Nobody's looking at Tyrese Halliburton wrong. Nobody. He couldn't have handled it more perfectly. Nobody is looking at him. They're looking at his dad. His dad did this. This is Tyrese Halliburton.
Even your family's decisions can sometimes reflect poorly on you.
Not
as well.
in this case.
That is your opinion.
Not in this case.
I promise you.
And I'm
not
telling you, you're dead wrong.
Okay, so you're saying everyone is. No one's looking at him.
Nobody's. Why would anybody look at Tyrese Halliburton, Molly? Why? He goes up, he finds out what happens. He goes on national television and says, my dad was wrong. Why would anybody look at Tyrese Halliburton wrong? Why?
I don't know. Maybe because he was chirping the whole season as well, and his father's an extension of him. I'm just telling you, it's your opinion. A child is an extension. So in other words, the child is an extension of his father. And because his you're
father
making a blanket statement. You're saying that you don't know that. You haven't spoken to every single person.
Well, you don't know it either.
Opinion. People have differing opinions.
I'm saying you don't know it either.
But just discussing it with people.
Tyrese Halliburton, somebody is looking wrong at him when he goes on national television and calls out his own father?
Yes.
But people feel a certain way about him because otherwise he wouldn't have won that, one.
He wouldn't have been leading that. And Stephen A. most overrated by the players.
I'm talking about the incident last night. Okay. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about how people feel about Halliburton overall. I'm talking about last night's incident.
And Wendy and I are telling you how people feel as well.
Molly, what you talking about? What are you talking about here? No. I would understand if Tyrese Halliburton didn't come out and condemn his father's behavior. I can see if he waited a week to condemn his father's behavior. I can even see if Tyrese Halliburton had a reputation of being this person who is just unprofessional and unsportsmanlike. But from everything that I can tell, outside of him being voted as overrated by his peers, which I don't believe he's overrated, but outside of him being voted as overrated, which this was a perfect game for him to prove otherwise, I don't see how this changes anything on his behalf, because Tyrese Halliburton immediately after the game went on national television for after the game for the conference and said, I condemn what my dad did.
It's totally unacceptable. Totally unacceptable.
Something happened between Giannis and your dad. What all did you see transpire?
As far as the incident between Giannis and my pops, I had no idea it happened until I got to the back and was showed the video. Me and my pops have talked about that, and I don't agree with what transpired there from him. I think basketball is basketball, and let's keep it on the court. And I think that he just got excited, saw his son make a game winner, and came on the court. But I think we had a conversation, and I think he just needs to just allow me to just play basketball, stay over there. I'll come to him to celebrate.
How or why would anybody look at him differently? Why would anybody judge him for what his dad did if he is also condemning and nothing about his reputation emulates the way his dad behaves? How? Do you understand how embarrassing, how tough it has to be for a child to go out, especially a son, to go out and have to, condemn his dad's behavior on his behalf? He's so embarrassed, I would imagine. He took away the glow from his own son's moment of winning because he wanted to act like a fool. Molly, no, and she was like, well, you can't speak for all of us because some people are going to feel that way. Molly, we know when Stephen A. Smith is saying nobody, he's saying most people. Which I agree with them. Most people are not going to see Tyrese Halliburton any differently. When you say, well, there's going to be somebody out there, that's what we're telling you. No, bro. The very few people that's going to see Tyrese Halliburton any differently, which I'm going to struggle to see who would do that, are going to be women. It's going to be women. Stop it. Anybody that already feels a way about Tyrese Halliburton, maybe some of the people that said he's overrated, are going to feel a way about Tyrese Halliburton because of his game on the court. Not because of his father's behavior, which he also immediately condemned like everybody else did. That doesn't make any sense. You can see, my ultimate point with this video is, you can see that this woman was bothered. She was upset that Stephen A. Smith disagreed with her. She was upset with the way in which he went about disagreeing with her because, in my opinion, and you all may not agree with this, I personally believe Molly, who is the moderator and shouldn't even be speaking, which, by the way, I just hate it. I cringe when she speaks. Like, stop stalking. Stop talking. Please, stop. Stop. If you don't know, Molly, when we click on these sports shows and you start speaking, if we're watching it on YouTube, we fast forward past the time that you're talking. If you're on TV, we mute the TV. We don't want to hear from you, man. No disrespect. We don't come here to hear from you. You're supposed to be the moderator, and let's just keep it all the way a buck. You're there to be eye candy. It's a reason why they pick certain women. It's a reason why certain women of certain weights you will never see moderating on these sports shows, because they have a certain prototype that they always select for these sports shows. It's not just about being good at your job. You have to be attractive, which I'm not complaining about, but I'm just stating it has nothing to do with because of the game of basketball. So because of that, I believe she expects special treatment. She doesn't expect to be not only disagreed with, but disagreed to that extent. Her feelings was hurt. She didn't like that, and that's why at the end she was like, that's what me and Wendy was saying, which I'm not even fully for sure if that's what Wendy was even saying. I don't even think he was fully agreeing with her. People are not going to see this dude differently because of what his dad did. Stop it, bro. Anyways, that's my little rant. That just bothered me quite a bit. I'm going to keep my eye out to see what happens with this whole situation with Tyrese Halliburton's dad, because I do believe he should be punished. Otherwise, you're setting a precedent for other people to understand that, hey, this is okay to do. But the last thing I want to say as well is, can you imagine how many, because Tyrese Halliburton's dad, I think his behavior reflects how a lot of parents feel when their child's team in the NBA gets eliminated every year. And this is a reflection of somebody that's just accustomed to losing, that being the Indiana Pacers. They never go anywhere. They're never in contention for a title. Maybe they believe so. Nobody else does. And I think this is a reflection of them just being so happy to get past the first round and they beat somebody like Giannis. This is their version of a championship. So the way they were celebrating this stuff is reminiscent of the way Patrick Beverly and his team was celebrating some years ago. I think when they just made it from the play-in just to make the playoffs or something like that. It's very similar to that. It's like, I can guarantee there's a lot of other parents that would like to behave the way Tyrese Halliburton's dad did, but they just refrain themselves. And in many cases, they probably would have done it if they didn't lose every year. But they can never make it past these elite teams, or the teams that they view as much more elite, or at least the team that has the better player, this being, in this case, Giannis. He wanted to rub it in his face like, y'all voted my son overrated. Giannis, I'm going to take it out on you. Look at us. We beat y'all. My son hit the game time, or the dunk to take us into overtime, and then we hit the layup. Man, stop it. Stop it. I think this is, all of that is to say, I think that was a reflection of losing culture, losing mentality. They're so accustomed to never making it or winning anything that this is their version of a championship. So, y'all up in the comment section as always. Give me your thoughts, man. As always, hit the like button. I'm Demetrius. I go by Didi. That's all for this one. Until next time. Peace. Oh, yeah. Didi got a point.